Paul and Connie met by chance on account major areas of strength for of. They accidentally crossed paths in close proximity. Connie then assisted Paul in acquiring his books. Although there was no vehicle to call at this point, Paul assisted Connie in calling a taxi. Paul noticed that Connie's knee was broken. Consequently, he educated her to rise to get a wrap. Connie looked at this intriguing and attractive man, and she didn't stop the taxi, even if it was nearby. She walked solemnly with Paul upstairs. Paul operated a bookstore. He had a great deal of books in his room. Connie went to the injury to clean it. Paul and Connie had a lovely discussion thereafter. Connie calls her child through Paul's telephone. She was extremely drowsy and flaunted her seductive legs. He conveyed ice to Connie, was staggered. Connie's hand is placed on the ice pack by Paul. From that point forward, he was captivated by her. After arriving at a phone decision, Connie planned to leave. Paul stated that Connie needed a book. He directed Connie to the book and asked her to open page 23. B. It says, "This is your life right now." Connie was apprehensive she wouldn't have the option to control herself after they took a gander at one another. "Come to my house if you want more books," Paul told her as she was about to leave. When Connie returned home and set the books on the shelf, she and her husband got a good night's sleep. Connie didn't anticipate opening the book the following morning. The book gave way to a business card. It turned out that Paul had slipped it into the book. Connie couldn't resist calling Paul after passing the telephone office, and he invited her to have coffee with him. Connie carried the steaming cup of coffee with her to the appointment. Yet again, exactly when Connie came to Paul's home, Paul moved forward and helped Connie with taking off her coat. He carefully caressed Connie's neck with his fingertips. Connie didn't say anything. Paul smiled wickedly. He knew he had a chance. Paul got to the bad coffee quickly. Connie was reading a Braille book. By grasping Connie's hand, Paul seizes the opportunity to translate for her. They smile together. As he held Connie's hand tightly, Paul was still thinking about how excited she was when she got home. She may have been. She went to her significant other's manager, Edward, and got him a sweater. Edward was unaware that another man would soon worn the sweater when she got home. Connie was still thinking about how she had managed Paul just recently. Connie went back to Paul's residence. She was mistaken, but she forgot to put on her coat as she was leaving when she returned to retrieve it. She is taken into Paul's arms. They would never be able to control the fire inside again. Consequently, they cannot be separated on their way home. At the point when Connie returned home, she was both miserable and blissful, and she picked a present for Paul. Paul and Connie had a secret phone conversation. She and Paul started going crazy after that. They went out on a date in the open and kissed. The men under Edward looked into this scene. The partner observed his partner's bizarre behavior. He sorted out that she had bought new articles of clothing and new shoes. She started dressing in a more opulent manner. He invited Connie to lunch with him that day. When Edward invited Connie, she stated that she would send spam. The lobby. He did, however, learn that Connie had failed to show up for her beauty appointment. On the way to Paul's house, Connie ran into her companions. She was invited to coffee with her friends. Paul received a call from Connie informing him to prepare. Paul, however, arrived right away. They met in the bathroom. Paul was acting like he was crazy. Connie's companion said that her button was unfastened when she returned to her seat. They then started talking about how handsome Paul was, like taking a powder. In no way is engaging in shady relationships comparable to enrolling in an earthenware class. When exactly discovers or someone falls in love, resulting in disastrous consequences. At the point when that's what Connie heard, she turned out to be fairly unsettled. Connie then made a request to end her friendship with Paul. In contrast, in front of Paul, she was helpless as a lamb. She have zero command over herself. Edward learns that his men have left him behind. They didn't get along. He released his men. Take note of that. Edward began to reflect, and he hired a private investigator to follow Connie. Connie was distracted by cooking at home. The water poured out of her soft rice. Edward was also distracted by his next day business trip. Connie also dressed up to go to the appointment, but Paul and she were caught on camera by the detective. She even failed to drop off her child at school. She only knew when she awoke. Connie began to feel utter regret when she got home. She started to cry. She was about to call Paul and end the relationship when her son showed up on her doorstep. The detective gave Edward the photos and the information. Prior to Paul, Edward was also informed. Edward was devastated when he saw the pictures. Connie drove home, but she happened to see Paul and a different woman in person. She swiftly pursued him. She realized she had been duped when she saw the two of them having an affair in the library. She struck Paul and the woman as she approached Paul. As he drives Connie home, Paul explains to her. Connie just wants to leave. Paul causes her to make it happen. Connie once again enjoys the sensation. She then panikedly fled. Edward, her significant other, additionally came down the stairs by then. Paul, his significant other's bamboozling accomplice, is situated by Edward, and converses with him. Paul said that he coincidentally met Connie by some coincidence. In any case, Edwards was miserable when he saw the chaotic bed. The crystal ball next to him then came to his attention. In the beginning, Edward gave this crystal ball to his wife. Edward asked Paul where the crystal ball came from. He guaranteed that it was a present from Connie. Edward had truly mixed feelings at this point. He got the valuable stone ball and hit Paul in the head. Paul eventually gave up and passed away. After he had settled down, he began cleaning the scene of the crime. He was prevented from calling the police by his head. After cleaning the crystal ball, his fingerprints were removed. In any case, he heard Connie calling Paul as he was cleaning the body. To mark the end of this year. Thus, depleted. Flying it hurt my family. Regardless, by that time, it had already passed the point of no return. The body was set in the storage compartment after Edward cleaned the floor. Then, in the evening, he went to watch his child's show. The body was secretly moved to a dump. The family went about their normal lives, but a few days later, the police showed up at the door because Edward's family had called Paul's phone. They claimed that Paul's family called the police to report him missing. A driver of a junkyard went over Paul's body soon after. Once more, the police arrived at the residence. They said they had found Paul's body. At the point when Connie went to recover Edward's garments after they had been addressed, she found the photos the investigators had taken. She panicked when they got home. Together, they were getting ready for the party. They didn't say anything. Connie, on the other hand, discovered the gem ball when her companion acquired it. The couple looked at each other after their friends had left and knew each other right away. Please tell me what you did. I must learn what you did. How often you cheated on him. You bamboozled me. I needed to kill you. How would I kill him? They carried on with their day the following day. As usual, Connie opened the crystal ball by accident. She recognized that Edward had prepared an intricate family photograph. It communicated with my wonderful spouse. The best part of every day. The photos that the criminal investigator had taken were then consumed by Connie. She believed that if she had taken a taxi that day, none of it would have happened. I will be surrendered. They went to a sale the following day. There was a red light in front of their destination as they were returning home around sunset. Connie said we could disappear. At the point when the light became green, the vehicle was as yet left there, and both of them carefully embraced each other. The police headquarters is situated to one side. The movie comes to an end here. The narrative does not end when they give in. Numerous affairs take place when the time is right and people are interested. When they are in love with something new and exciting, people's inherent vanity. We must make the most of the present and value it. Turn on notifications. Please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.